This time on Rat and Cat, one of my favorite features to do, the top survival stories from the last 30 days. Welcome to Rat and Cat, where we search, survive, and explore. I'm Nikia. Like I said, this is one of my favorite things to do here on Rat and Cat. Look at the top survival stories from the last 30 days. Let's get started. In Everglades National Park, Florida, 67-year-old Mark Miele of Virginia embarked on a solo kayaking trip on January 22. He was due back from his trip on January 29, but did not return. 4 days later, Miele's belongings, including his wallet and phone, washed up on the bank of the Lopez River. Park rangers found them and asked Collier County Sheriff's Office to assist in a search, and deputies were able to download the data from Miele's phone and find his most recent coordinates logged on January 31. Collier County Sheriff's Aviation Unit began a targeted search of the area. Shortly before noon on Monday, February 3rd, they were able to locate Miele and guide rescue boats to his location, which was just a few miles from where his belongings were found. He was dehydrated and hypothermic, but alive. Officials believe Miele was saved by his yellow life jacket, which helped rescue workers spot him and helped keep his head out of the water. His canoe was found in the area by some mangroves, halfway filled with water. But what actually happened to make him fall out of the boat is still a mystery. And on February 13 in Ashford, Washington, Sam Parker was walking in the dark along SR 706 when something strange started to happen. I noticed that I started hearing some noises and trees were breaking and I could see a big wall of mud coming. I looked either way and it didn't matter where I looked, it was there, said Parker. Parker said the mud engulfed his body and he felt like he was sinking in slow motion. I'd gotten to a place where no matter where I reached, my hand would keep sinking and my face would go down in it, and there was no pavement in it. It was just mud, recalled Parker. Parker's partially disabled and had to take frequent breaks to regain strength as he fought the slide. After about an hour, Parker saw headlights and a man approached him. He saw my hand up and he could barely see me. He came and got me and dug me out. Without him, I probably wouldn't be here, said Parker. He suffered from cuts and bruises on his legs. Parker said an unsolved fight with a close friend is what helped him survive. I didn't tell her I was sorry, and that's one thing that kept me going at least 2 times. When I would give up, that would keep me working. On February 23, several people broke through the ice in 3 separate incidents on Big Woods Lake, Iowa. Crews were first called to the lake at about 12:20 p.m. for 3 people who were ice fishing and had fallen through the ice. Later, authorities returned to the lake after another person broke through the ice, but that man was able to get himself out of the water. Then around 6:15 p.m., after dark, emergency crews were called for a pair of teens who had broken through the ice, about 50 yards from shore. Officers donned buoyant suits and took a sled into the water, occasionally breaking through the ice themselves to reach the male and female. They were individually hoisted onto a rescue sled and pulled ashore using ropes. Then the next day in Montana, a man fell through the ice on McDonald Lake and self-rescued by breaking through 50 to 75 feet of ice to reach the lake shore. A friend was giving him first aid when help arrived. The man was suffering from hypothermia and was unable to walk. Officers carried him a half mile to EMS and Mission Fire units, who then took him to a local hospital. On North Twin Lakes, Maine, a father and daughter narrowly survived falling through ice while snowmobiling. Brian Such, 53, and his daughter, age 16, of Manchester, Connecticut, were snowmobiling near Baxter State Park when they broke through the ice shortly before 7 p.m. Riding on separate snowmobiles, they quickly became submerged in the water but managed to escape the water while wearing full riding gear and helmets. And in Northern California, a couple went missing near Chicken Ranch Beach, near a cabin they were renting, and survived a week by drinking from muddy puddles and eating fern fronds. On Valentine's Day, the couple who knew the area went on a hike before returning home. But with the moon waning and the thick canopy of pines and oaks overhead, darkness fell early and the couple was quickly lost. Thick vegetation hampered rescue efforts using radio, GPS, and parabolic microphones. However, eventually rescue workers with a rescue dog passed near them and heard their calls for help. They were found in a marshy area with thick underbrush. During that time, in Central California, rescue workers were looking for Cody King, who had been missing since his car got stuck in the snow on February 19 near Shaver Lake in Fresno County. He left his girlfriend in the vehicle to get help and ended up hitching a ride with a PG&E worker to a place where he thought there would be cell phone service, but there wasn't. So the PG&E worker dropped him off on a mountain road with a shovel? I'm not sure why someone would do that, but anyhow, on foot, King then took a wrong turn. Meanwhile, his girlfriend, who remained at the vehicle, walked back out the road and was rescued. Rescue workers continued to track King and came across a campsite they believed was his, but that seemed to be a dead end. Search efforts were also hampered by a number of false leads. People later admitted that they'd actually lied about the clues. Still lost, King came to a gate in the road, camped there, took off through the woods, found a cabin, stayed a night there, found another cabin, and lit a fire there, which is where rescue workers, with the help of a canine, finally caught up with him. And a 6-year-old girl is recovering from minor injuries after she survived a mountain lion attack at a California park. The attack happened Sunday morning, February 17, when a group that included the victim, her parents, and several other adults and young children were hiking on a trail at the Rancho San Antonio County Park. One of the adults punched the 160-pound cougar in the ribs. The rest of the group also made loud noises, and apparently all of that together scared away the cougar. The park ranger was nearby and quickly provided first aid to the child. According to the California Department of Fish and Wildlife, 17 people have been attacked in the state of California by cougars since 1986. So it seems there's some rather unconventional wisdom we can learn from these stories. Don't snowmobile or fish on thin ice. I think that's an obvious one. If a cougar is attacking, punch it and make a lot of noise. And if you're stuck in a mud flow, try thinking about unresolved personal conflict so you have too much guilt to perish. And finally, never trust a PG&E electrical worker to rescue you. I'd like to know what your thoughts are. Have you ever had an unconventional rescue or a botched rescue? I look forward to reading your stories in the comments below. Until next time, I'm Nikia and this is Rat and Cat. Get out there, be safe, and enjoy the wild.